What's going on, everybody? We have Danny Flores from Net Metering, California, all the way from Southern California. Danny, how you doing today, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. So you've been one of the shining stars in our DashElite program. You always have a positive mindset. So I wanted to really bring you on to just get your truthful and honest feedback about the DashElite program, about the things that you like, the things that you don't like literally anything. I just want to keep it raw, right?
Got
But
it.
first, what I want to do is I just want to ask you a couple quick questions to make sure we set the mood so everybody understands kind of where you're at, where you've been at, and things like that. So Danny, when did you actually start your marketing agency? How long ago was it?
So without me even really knowing, it was about like 2 years ago.
Okay. Why do you say that? Just curious. Share it with the viewers. So did you get into like something that you didn't know what it was about?
Yeah, well, so what ended up happening, I networked with a few owners that have pretty successful businesses. So finally, one of the owners said, "Hey, Danny, you're pretty good at sales and closing. You should just buy leads." So with him telling me that, I said, "Yeah, I'll buy leads. Where'd I go?" He's like, "I'll try these companies." And I said, "Do you use them?" He says, "Nah." So I was kind of skeptical. And then on top of that, buying leads, he was talking about spending a few $1,000s, like, which I'd never done before. But because he told me to do it, I ended up doing it. So I bought leads consistently for like
Yep.
a few weeks, spent a few grand. And then when I started looking at my invoices, I was like, wait a minute, I should have learned how to do this because I could probably save a good chunk of money. So that's what ended me, learning how to do, Facebook ads and stuff like that. And
So,
that's what kind of started off.
so for also everybody who's watching, once again, so they understand kind of where you came from. Obviously, you've been in how long have you been in DashElite for? It's been like at least 6 months,
It was
right?
Valentine's of this year, Valentine's 2020.
It's about, I think I would say around 6 months, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And you came from the solar industry, so you were working in solar. I know you still have a side hustle that you're doing, which is actually not a hustle; it's a full-blown business, which you also have practically your own version of a solar company, and then you also work with other solar companies. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So your niche, you've niched down straight up in the solar niche. Do you have any other clients outside of solar, or is it just purely solar?
No, I do. So home security, starting off, going to be starting one here for like windows and shutters.
Cool.
If anything, I guess the niche besides the real niche is homeowners. So like the homeowner demographic is kind of
Home
like,
service guys.
yeah, exactly. And I had my own ADT dealership years ago. So it's kind of, it's real natural for me to do. I did that way before solar, but now it just makes more sense to kind of just started to spread it out a little bit,
Love it, man.
diversify, I guess.
Awesome. And what was like? I know a lot of people sometimes when they're joining these, coaching programs or different, whatever you want to call them, these different types of programs like DashElite. What was like that one thing that pushed you over? Because there's hundreds of different coaching programs. Why DashElite? Why did you choose DashElite?
Really, so when I started absorbing your content, like you specifically for, and DashClicks, it was through YouTube. So I'm real visual. So I was just seeing all the YouTube posts and stuff like that. And then I seen there was a lot of testimonials coming out, but it was more what you DashClicks actually had was like the software, stuff like that, where I was actually introduced to you guys, where it was more like a fulfillment, saying, hey, this company could do fulfillment. So that's where I started checking you guys out. But then I seen there was a lot more than just fulfillment. And that's what kind of started it going for me. It was just because there was a lot more than just like, hey, we do this. It's like, no, we specialize in this area. This is just one of the pieces. But at the same time, instead of having us be forced to kind of, buy all this stuff, we're allowed through DashClicks to either get this or that or this or that. So that was pretty neat.
Love it. And then out of all the things in DashElite, because there's a bunch of stuff, we have, the weekly calls every Tuesday. We have the premium versions to all of our softwares, access to the white label fulfillment team whenever you need orders fulfilled. All of the courses that are available on the education platform. We could strip everything away. What's the number one thing, if you could get rid of everything, what's the number one thing that you would keep in DashElite? What do you love the most?
I would say the Slack communication.
Slack communication. Why? Just
Yeah.
curious.
What
does it do for?
So I know when like Facebook groups are taking off pretty big with everybody, and they're trying to monetize it, but a good chunk of people still know, hey, what's really going on behind the scenes? What are they really talking about? So with Slack, from what you guys have set up, being in DashElite, DashElite, it's already a whole separate group of people that already are actually doing what they're talking about, not just talking about stuff like, hey, try this, but they never tried it. So like, and it was funny one time through Slack communication, one of the guys mentioned something like, hey, Danny, try this kind of thing. And he said, hey, joking around, and say, hey, you try it first, let me know how it goes. And he's like, no, I did. That's what I'm saying. So I was like, oh, okay. So it's cool. It's cool to talk with people that have actually done what we're trying to do, or what we have done, to kind of communicate in a different way. And even if we don't have any of that, at least having access to guys like you or Tommy, the guys are actually running the companies. That's pretty cool. Because you don't get that too often. You'll have to, hey, post it in the group and somebody will answer it. At least with through DashElite with Slack, it's like, hey, yeah, you can still post in the group and somebody will answer it. But if you want a direct answer, you can still message us directly. But chances are it's a different group than just like a Facebook group.
Yeah. I think I think a good word for it is segmented. It's like just an amazing group of segmented people that all share the same vision. And I love that. Let's go into some metrics, right? So let's say you've been in the program for about 6 months now. We'll call it, maybe a little less or more, right? But we'll say 6 months. How, I know you have your other company, but just from the marketing side of your company, how much revenue have you generated, do you think, in the last 6 months, ever since you've been in DashElite? Just a rough number. I know you've generated a lot of revenue, so you probably don't know the exact dollar amount, but just give me a rough number. How much you think it's been?
When I know we had the summit, that's when I kind of started to deep dive a little bit more,
Yep.
because it's if maybe like the bigger chunk of my revenue that I have is more or less like reps and guys just buying leads from me. So not so much even like on retainer.
Yep.
But when I started to add all that up and the clients I have on retainer, it was just hovering around like 250 grand, more or less. So that was kind of like
And that
for
was the
me
time of
on.
the summit, right? So
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
probably like, I think like 2 months ago, maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I had, if anything, like the last, we were talking a little bit, but like the last like month and a half or so, I've kind of taken my foot off the pedal. So I
Yep.
haven't been able to accelerate how I wanted to. But the holiday seasons are here, so we need
You
my
jump
kids need
back
Christmas presents, and
in. All right. So we'll call it, let's say 250 grand in the last, let's say 6 months of being in the program. We can say that safely.
yeah.
Then let's say fast forward 6 months from today. Okay. Where do you see yourself at? What's a good forecast? Where do you want to go from like the 250 to where? Where do you want to be in sales in the next 6 months?
Um, right now for the solar side, I feel like I could double it pretty easily, without feeling like too overwhelmed, or having to juggle too much. It's still pretty manageable. Where either realistically, I feel like I could do most of it, but definitely like having access to DashClicks, or even hiring like a VA, stuff like that to help out. Where it's for me, it's manageable. Um, and if anything, now what I'm looking into is just so like in my niche is finding out, okay, what are the other target audiences that we're going after, and what is my background like. For part of my background is with home security, so it's like, okay, I can actually partner with these different
Go
businesses or
different
industries.
verticals.
Yeah, and we're going after the same target audience. So that's kind of my next step that I already started, but haven't actually
Love it. So
ran.
the
Yeah,
goal is to, let's say, safely call it double revenue, hopefully going down some different verticals, expanding not only in solar, but going down home security and some other home service based niches.
yeah.
Great. And last question I have for you, and this one hopefully will touch the heart a little bit. Uh, how has DashElite actually changed your life or made a difference in your life, if any?
No, it hasn't actually. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right. Well, thanks. Gotta go.
That's it. It working with like guys that run agencies, or trying to run an agency, or just trying to even have one client or get a client. It's way more fun when we're able to share the failures, but kind of be open about it. And obviously talking about the success is like, hey, I signed somebody up for 6 grand, 10 grand, and this and that. That's cool. But it's when I connected with you was when you're saying, hey, I went door to door, business to business. that to me, that got my attention because I love going cold doors, business to business before. Like when I ran a tow truck company before, so I was used to going business to business cold, and it was like it's a whole different kind of excitement. But yeah, I think it's really changed me just because now I have like that confidence boost in just being able to go after anything and brainstorm with other people. Um, so it's actually just been way more comfortable because when you're alone trying to start an agency or figure this stuff out, it's kind of you're kind of scared. When I first heard like terms, I'm like, hey, when you run your campaigns, do a 3x3, and I was like, what? Wait, what? What's a 3x3? You know. But now talking to guys like you and people in DashElite, it's pretty cool because we're on the same page on different levels. Like somebody might be really good at setting up campaigns, or somebody might be really good at, cold calling, or somebody might be really good at setting up all the integrations. Like for example, with me, I do zero email campaigns, zero. I mean, nothing. So if I'm able to partner somebody through DashElite that is able to set up email campaigns and stuff like that, and that can actually show, hey, this is what I've done, then it's like, hey, there you go, you have a partnership because they're already doing it. They're not trying to test it out on me to see if it works. So yeah, like the family, the culture with DashElite is pretty cool because it's like a typical family. Everybody kind of had different stuff going on, but whenever you need your family, it's like, okay, they're there, and then you do your own thing. Like I've been away a little bit, but I can still reach out and talk to Tommy or guys like you. So that's pretty cool.
I love it, man. Well, hey, Danny, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Flores from Net Metering California, out of Southern California. Been in DashElite for 6 months. We'll call it safe to say collected about $250K in revenue after joining the program. It has been, honestly, to be super transparent, was successful before even joining the program. Just an awesome individual. And thank you for your time, man. Much appreciated, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Chad.
Have a good one.